Hi, I'm Jacob with National Fleet Products, and today we're going to be demonstrating the install process for a WM Systems swivel loading ramp in the Ford Transit. This video is going to apply to all versions of the Ford Transit, encompassing all wheelbase lengths and roof heights. However, there is going to be one exception. If your van happened to come equipped with a rear AC package, the blower unit would be right here, and in that case we would have supplied an alternative mounting plate. It would be for a right-hand swivel ramp. Today we happen to be installing a mounting plate for a left-hand swivel ramp, but the instructions are going to be identical. So regardless, please follow along. Today's video is the first in a three-part series. This video will cover the installation of the mounting hardware onto the vehicle. The second video will cover the attachment of the loading ramp to the mounting hardware and the necessary adjustments. The third video will cover the ramp operation, and we will take measurements of the space that the ramp and the mounting plate take up inside the cargo van. The hardware we're demonstrating today is our new no-drill hardware. It's awesome. With this design, no drilling into the vehicle's body is required, and only a couple of simple tools are required for installation. Beside me, you'll see them laid out here. I would like to review them quick with you so you're prepared. For sure, you'll want to have an impact wrench. The specific tools you're looking for, you're going to want to have a 3/16 Allen. I like to have it on a socket. It surely speeds things up. You're going to want to have a couple of wrenches available. You're going to have a 5/8 socket and crescent wrench. And then something a little larger, you're going to have a 15/16 socket and crescent wrench. And depending on your tool status and the depth of that socket, it might be nice to have a couple of different extensions available. But again, that will depend on what you happen to be working with. Using these simple tools, this hardware plate will easily be installed in 10 to 20 minutes. Now let's talk about prepping the cargo area for install. If your vehicle came with a factory-provided rear plastic threshold, you'll want to go ahead and remove that permanently. It will not be reused. In fact, our mounting hardware is going to completely replace it, and one of the benefits of this new hardware is it's made from 1/4-inch steel plate, and it doubles as a heavy-duty rear threshold protector. Next, you're going to want to evaluate your flooring situation. If you happen to have a bare metal floor with nothing here, continue on, no concerns. You'll notice we have the factory-provided rubber mat. This comes from Ford, and what you want to do is make sure that none of this sound deadening insulation ends up where the mounting plate is going to be. You don't want to rise or raise that mounting plate up. So you trim back anything that overhangs, and then that rubber mat itself can be tucked under the mounting plate to give it a finished look. Alternatively, if you happen to have a wood floor in the vehicle, I'm going to ask that you follow along with the instructions, watch how we assemble the plate, and then go ahead and mark the leading edge of that wood floor that you have, remove the plate, take a saw, cut and trim it back so that when the plate is reinstalled, it butts up nicely and creates a good transition or seam so that wheels or such can't get hung up in the transition. Now we're ready to begin the installation of the mounting hardware. The first plates to reach for are going to be these two squarish plates, and the smaller one is going to have 3 holes. You'll notice they can be slightly offset to the left. That is the correct orientation. And what you're going to do is slip this plate, as so, into this little cavity, and then you're going to take your larger plate. Again, this is going to be the one with the 3 countersunk screws in the same pattern, and this plate's going to set right here in the middle. You want to make sure it fits in between these 2 ridges, and you'll notice that these 3 holes line up with the access point right here in the floor. We'll place that over there, line that up, and you're going to grab the 3 longer screws with the countersunk heads to them. They're going to match up for that. Go ahead and get this plate fished up in here. Match up the holes. There we go. Get them started. And what I need to mention is we're going to tighten these up, but I don't want to tighten them all the way. I'm going to want to get this snugged up, but still allow for a little bit of movement in this plate. A little too much, let's back those off. Okay, we still have the ability to reposition that as needed. Beautiful. Next, we're going to take our larger plates and start to place them in position. The first one you'll notice is going to be our driver's side plate. You'll remember we're doing a left-hand swivel ramp, so you'll notice there'll be these welded support feet on here. And this piece will come assembled. You'll notice there's a couple of pieces that have been bolted onto it. So all you'll have to do is place this right here against the body. The same thing is going to happen with your passenger side plate. Again, if you happen to have the right-hand swivel version, the mounting feet would have been over here that you'd seen earlier. But in this case, we're on the left-hand swivel, so the plate looks like it does here. And then you're going to take your center plate. You'll notice this plate happens to have a hole in the middle, and that has been cut out to give you ability to reach your spare tire key. So that's how you know you have the orientation correctly positioned. You're going to want to get this to fit in here, so we'll want to move these plates and allow that to all drop in. Beautiful. Next, we're going to go ahead and take some of these smaller countersunk screws. We're going to grab 4 of them, and we're going to assemble the edge of this plate. So let's go ahead and put these in. I should have mentioned that we are only going to snug these ones up as well, just like we did this lower plate. This is all just to get everything in the correct orientation. At this point, I'd ask you to grab for some more of your hardware. You're going to be grabbing the smaller size bolt here. You'll have 2 washers and a nylock nut with it. And what I ask you to do is take the bolt with the washer and fish this into this body cavity here. You may have had a plastic panel that would have been here from the factory. That's easily removed. You can be set aside. Go ahead and take your bolt with the washer. You're going to fish that in so it comes out right here at this top hole. And again, make sure your plate's aligned to allow that to come out. Keep that bolt from falling in by throwing a washer and a nut on it. We'll do the same with the passenger side. And now we're going to be grabbing our larger bolts. These 2 are about double in size. They're quite a bit stouter. You're going to go ahead and fish this one in, and this is going to go down quite low here. It might require a smaller arm to get all the way into the cavity to reach down. So it's going to come through there. You can fish a washer onto it and get this nut on, and again, keep that bolt from falling into this cavity. And we'll complete that on the passenger side. At this point, let's review how far we've come. You'll remember we have our plate that's been sandwiched down here with our 3 bolts that are sort of loose. We attached this middle plate to the sides, and these 2 on each side, 4 total, those are loose as well. We now have our 2 bolts on each side. Those are loose as well. And now what I'd like to do is I'm going to use a crescent wrench, and we want to get alignment on these 4 center bolt hole locations. So go ahead and push that plate, because remember, you left it a little loose so you could manipulate it. Work that into position. And then you can go ahead and take your 4 countersunk bolts that are left, thread those in to ensure complete alignment. All right. At this point, we know that everything's in alignment. All our holes line up, we've prepped everything, and what we're going to want to do is start tightening things down. So what I'm going to start with is the hardware on both sides. We're going to take our 15/16 socket and wrench and go ahead and tighten the one here at the lowest point. And now we're going to switch over to our 5/8 and tighten that upper bolt. All right, at this point, I'm going to ask you to remove these 4 center screws. Now go ahead and remove the 2 on each side that kept this middle plate on. Now what I'd ask you to do is to very carefully take this center plate, grab it by the external edges here, and lift up. Now set that forward, and again the goal here is to make sure that we are not moving this center plate that had been sandwiched. We know this is in the correct orientation, everything lines up, so our goal is to make sure this doesn't move now. So go ahead, take your impact, maybe put a finger on here or something to brace it so it doesn't kick, and go ahead and tighten these down, make them permanent. All right, go ahead, reassemble this center plate. It's a good idea to put these all in loose, make sure they get threaded in, and then run them in the whole way. And there you have it. We have successfully completed the installation of the mounting hardware for the Ford Transit. Again, this requires no drilling, and this is for the WM Systems Swivel series of loading ramps. This is video part 1 of 3. Again, my name is Jacob with National Fleet Products. If you had any questions that came up during the install process, you are encouraged to call. Our number here is 763-762-3451. Thanks for watching.